So I did my top 10 Christmas movies list recently, and you can find the link to that in the description or on the screen now if you want to see it. But I wasn't able to talk about all the Christmas movies that I wanted to. Before we get into it though, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this. I'm also doing a series reacting to horror films with my girlfriend and have a bunch of other series planned soon. One of the movies which I was extremely close to including in my list and has been requested a couple of times in the comments is Jingle All The Way, a 1996 comedy directed by Brian Levant, who also directed other family comedies including Beethoven and the Flintstones. One of the producers was Chris Columbus, who, as I mentioned in my top 10 video, was the mastermind behind a huge number of popular 80s and 90s comedies. The story introduces us to Arnold Schwarzenegger as Howard Langston, an overworking father who's been letting down his son Jamie, played by Jake Lloyd. Yeah, that's Jake Lloyd. After the Terminator misses Darth Vader's karate practice, he promises to buy him the hottest toy for Christmas, a Turbo Man doll. This sets up the rest of the film, where Arnie must then spend Christmas Eve desperately trying to track down one of these dolls, along with a bunch of other equally desperate parents. Along the way he meets a mailman played by the comedian Sinbad, who ends up becoming a half friend half villain for the rest of the story, as they both attempt to get their hands on a doll for their kids. When they're not in direct competition with each other to get a doll, they're friendly, but as soon as the toy is up for grabs they become enemies again. As the story goes on, Arnie gets more desperate, at one point even resorting to trying to steal his neighbour's kid's Turbo Man from under their tree, before having a change of heart, but he isn't able to stop himself accidentally setting their house on fire. This is a very cartoony movie with plenty of slapstick and silly jokes, and with a guy like Arnie who normally takes up lead roles in action movies, it creates a nice contrast. Although saying that, he spends most of the movie getting his ass handed to him and fighting even bigger guys such as the wrestler Big Show is dressed as Santa, so we don't see much of his physical prowess. But we do see Big Show punch the late Vern Troyer across the room. Most of the acting is over the top and a bit wacky, which works well in a movie like this, and it helps to hide Arnie's acting limitations, let's say, when all the other actors are playing it up a bit. Sinbad is a great foil for Arnie, who is trying to play it a bit straighter than him, and Jake Lloyd's performance is pretty much on par with his Phantom Menace one, so you know what to expect there.
Thanks, Turbo Man, I knew you'd save me.
There's a weird subplot where Arnie's neighbour is trying to seduce his wife, who's played by Rita Wilson. For some reason, all the desperate housewives in the neighbourhood are into this guy, even though he's incredibly slimy. He's played by Phil Hartman, and you'll instantly recognise his voice as that of Troy McClure or Lionel Hutz from The Simpsons. Perhaps this is why it feels so weird for all these women to be all over him, because I cannot separate the voice from Troy McClure. Or maybe he just has a romantic abnormality.
What I have is a romantic abnormality.
Turbo Man's villains are quite clearly based on the Power Rangers, and this isn't surprising because the entire premise for the film was developed after seeing the craze for Power Rangers and Cabbage Patch Kids. Spoiler alert in case you haven't seen this film, but at the end Arnie gives up trying to get the toy and instead goes to the parade where his wife, son and Troy McClure have gone. Turbo Man is due to show up at the parade, and eventually Arnie ends up being put in the costume through movie luck and circumstances. He then fights Sinbad, who steals Turbo Man's villain's outfit, and his son realises that he doesn't need Turbo Man after all, because his dad is the real thing, showing that material possessions are not what's important at Christmas. It's a nice message, but this whole ending sequence kind of loses me a bit. Everything where Arnie is racing around the shopping malls trying to find the doll is great, but I guess they ran out of steam a bit later on. What this film does do well though is put you in the Christmas mood. There is Christmas song after Christmas song throughout the entire runtime. I don't think I've ever heard so many in one movie, and it really adds to the mood. Overall, although it feels like it loses its way a little later on, it's a lot of fun with plenty of memorable moments. I mean, come on, where else are you going to see the Terminator punch a reindeer?
You picked the wrong day.
A few of Arnie's most quotable lines are found here too.
Put that cookie down!
This is a perfect movie for people of any age and a nice film for the afternoon on Christmas Day when you're stuffed after a lovely Christmas lunch. Anyway, thank you for watching. Check this one out if you haven't seen it, and again, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Have a good Christmas, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.